Today I share with you how to make puff puff. Initially, when I was making this puff puff, it didn't float, but I didn't worry because I knew that I would eventually get this lovely outcome. So this is my puff puff recipe on how to make puff puff. In a bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour. After adding that, I'm going to set the bowl aside and then I'll move on to the next thing, which is mixing my wet ingredients. Into this small bowl, I'll add some lukewarm water. Feel free to dilute the water like I did here if you realize that the water is a little bit too hot. Remember, lukewarm water. Then add a little bit of sugar. I added just half tablespoon of sugar and then you mix this very well. After mixing, it's time to add your yeast. The reason for the sugar is when you add sugar before you add yeast, it helps to quickly activate the yeast and makes the yeast very active really fast. And remember, we want to save time. So after mixing up, I'll set that aside and go back to my dry ingredients in the bowl, which is the all-purpose flour. I'd add 3 tablespoons of sugar into the flour. As I continue, don't forget to like this video, leave your comment, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. After adding sugar, I'll go ahead and add salt. Not a lot of salt, just little salt. And then I'll push these dry ingredients aside again and let me show you what my yeast looks like. This is what the yeast looks like after 3 minutes. Yes, you can see that that is really fast. Now here are the dry ingredients and I'll be pouring this yeast into the dry ingredients. The reason why I always do this is to reduce my waiting time. By waiting time, I mean that time you have to wait for the puff puff batter to rise before frying. When you mix your yeast this way, it reduces that waiting time by at least 10 minutes. And we're all about saving time here, aren't we? So the next thing to do after pouring the yeast into the flour is to mix. I'll also be adding some water. For this recipe, my measurement is always 2 cups of flour to 1 cup of water. So this is 1 cup of water and I'll be adding it to these ingredients in the bowl. I'm going to mix this up very well till I get a smooth consistency. Now, regarding cooking content on YouTube, if you like watching cooking content on YouTube, then I think you should like this video, leave your comment, share this video, and of course, please subscribe to this channel. Why? Because on the online cooking channel, I have so many easy African food recipes that you will love. Yes, if you are interested in African food recipes, you would find that here on this channel. After mixing up very well, it's time to cover the bowl and set aside for at least 20 minutes. And to do this, I always use cling film. For reasons best known to me, I found out that when I use cling film to cover my bowl when I'm making puff puff, it helps my puff puff batter rise faster. So what I do is I cover the bowl instead of using the actual lid of the bowl. I cover with cling film. I cover properly. I wrap it properly. I think that's the best word to use. I wrap properly with cling film and then I put the bowl in a clean, dry, and not too warm place. I'll let this be there for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, my puff puff batter is rising or it has risen. Okay, so my puff puff butter has risen and it's time to fry. So I'm just pouring some cooking oil into my pot. Or let this oil heat up very well. And if you're wondering how to know if your cooking oil is hot enough, it's very simple. Put just small puff of butter into the cooking oil. If the puff puff did not rise immediately, that's your signal that the cooking oil is not hot enough. As you can see, this cooking oil is not hot enough. And I'll be using this spoon to scoop out my puff puff from the cooking oil because this is an everyday at home recipe, so we don't really need anything fancy. Yeah, just your pot and your spoon. I already have the basket over there to take out the puff puff when they fry, and you will notice that right now. Immediately I put the butter into the oil, it comes up. That is because the oil, the cooking oil is now hot enough. So this is the major indicator that your cooking oil is hot enough. And here is the thing, if your cooking oil is not hot enough before you put in the butter, your puff puff will still fry. No, But the thing here is, even if your puff puff still fries, your puff puff will absorb too much cooking oil, and you don't want that to happen. So I think it's best you exercise a little bit of patience, even though you are in a hurry, because like they say, time is money. Exercise a little bit of patience. Allow your cooking oil get hot enough before putting your puff puff batter into it. It will save you a lot of waiting time for your puff puff to eventually rise, and a lot of cooking time as well. Now it's time to turn my puff puff after about 2 minutes, and this is what my puff puff looks like on the other side. Also, I need to tell you that once your puff puff is this way, the next thing you have to do is to turn the heat down to medium heat. The reason why you need to turn the heat down to medium heat is very simple. If you don't turn the heat down to medium heat, your puff puff is going to fry, of course, but what's going to happen is you may have some undercooked puff puff. By this, I mean some of the puff puff will be properly cooked outside and inside, while some would be still raw. Yes, you find some puff puff would still be raw on the inside, while the outside looks this brown and lovely. And you don't want that to happen because you don't want to waste your food. So when it gets to that time, turn down the heat. Now that I'm done scooping out the first batch of puff puff, it's time to fry the second batch. And if you've watched this video to this point, don't forget to like this video, leave your comment, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. If you love Nigerian cooking videos, if you love to watch African cooking videos, especially if you like the easy food recipes, make sure you subscribe to this channel because I have so many of that for you to watch and enjoy right here. Anyway, let me show you how to put in your butter. It's just simple. Scoop a little onto your hands or palm, and then just push it down into the hot oil until everything gets into the hot oil. I know there's a fancy technique that people use to scoop or put puff puff butter into the oil, but not everybody would know how to do that. Perhaps I should say that that takes a lot of practice. So if you are a beginner, this is a beginner friendly puff puff recipe that you should try. After frying this puff puff for a few minutes again, it's time to turn, and you can see that my puff puff is turning a lovely shade of golden brown, as it should. Yeah. So, there's this recipe that I saw one time and I couldn't believe my eyes until I tried it. Have you ever eaten puff puff and beans? If you've never tried it, just take this as a nudge from me telling you to please try it. Let me show you what my basket full of puff puff looks like. Would you believe that all of these came out of just 2 cups of all purpose flour? Right now, I'm counting the puff puff just to know how many puff puff balls I made with just 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and you would not believe the number that I am about to tell you. Trust me, you would not believe the number that I'm about to say. Yes, right now I have counted 24, and with these last two, 25, 26. Yes, you heard me right. 26 balls of puff puff. Let me show you. 26 balls of puff puff with just 2 cups of all purpose flour. Thank you for watching this video to this point.